Let's take a look at the collective bargaining process. Collective bargaining is the process that labor unions and employers use to reach agreement about wages, benefits, hours worked, and other terms and conditions of employment. The NLRB requires that employers and unions bargain in good faith. Good faith bargaining requires the parties to meet at a reasonable time and come to the bargaining table ready to reach a collective bargaining agreement. Mandatory bargaining topics must be negotiated and include compensation and benefits, hours of employment, and other conditions of employment. Pensions, insurance, grievance processes, safety, layoffs, discipline, and union security have also become mandatory bargaining topics. The law does not require an employer and the union to actually reach agreement on the topics, only that they bargain in good faith. The bargaining process also includes issues such as employee rights, management control, and benefits for retired union workers. However, these topics are not mandatory and are referred to as permissive topics. With the fast-changing global economy, job security has become a critical component for collective bargaining. No measures can be discussed that would be unlawful. Actions that constitute bad faith bargaining include bargaining with individual employees rather than union representatives, refusing to meet at a reasonable time to engage in bargaining, and going through the motions of bargaining without the intent of reaching an agreement. Other activities that may or may not be considered bad faith bargaining include not being willing to schedule enough bargaining sessions and applying economic pressure to the other party. Let's take a look at the steps of the collective bargaining process, including being prepared, knowing the interests of the other party, and understanding the consequences of not reaching an acceptable agreement. Both parties involved in negotiation, labor and management, spend considerable time preparing to negotiate. It's important that each side have a current and accurate data to address the topics for negotiation. Being prepared means entering into negotiation with some idea of what the other party will expect with regard to the final outcome. Understanding the interests of the other party, what the other party sees as critical relative to the outcome, puts the negotiator in a stronger position to bargain for concessions. Two commonly used types of negotiation strategies in labor negotiations are distributive and integrative bargaining. When a distributive bargaining strategy is used, there's a winner and a loser. The goals of one party are in direct conflict with the goals of the other party, and often each party wants to claim a fixed set of limited resources as its own, or at least maximize its share. Each party takes a defensive position during the bargaining session. In an integrative bargaining strategy, each party is more cooperative and works to make an outcome with a win-win result. In this situation, one party can pursue its goals without precluding the other party from doing the same. Both sides cooperate to reconcile their differences and reach a mutually agreeable solution. Interest-based bargaining, known as IBB, is basically an extension of an integrative bargaining solution. In this situation, each party looks for common goals in order to meet the interests of the other party. Brainstorming, information sharing, and other techniques are used to ensure that the lines of communication between the two parties are kept open. The goal is to reach consensus so both parties can win. What happens if the parties to a union negotiation can't reach an agreement? Often, the result is either a strike by workers, a lockout of workers by managers, or arbitration, with a third party making the decisions. The situation in which both parties have made their final offers and are not willing to make further concessions is referred to as an impasse. When an impasse occurs, the parties have several options. First, an impartial outside party, such as the Federal Mediation and Conciliation Service discussed earlier, can be called in to facilitate the negotiation. This facilitation can take the form of conciliation, which involves keeping the parties working on the agreement until they can resolve the issues at hand. The facilitation can also take the form of mediation, which involves the outside party working with each side to reach an acceptable agreement. Finally, arbitration can be used to resolve the issues. Unlike conciliation and mediation, in which a third party acts as an intermediary, arbitration involves a third party actually making the decision about the issue. Employees and unions also are using arbitration to resolve their disputes with individual employees.